I woke up exactly at 12 a.m., midnight, and just decided to make this video. Now, I know that many people, they have these conspiracy theories. We call them conspiracy theorists. They talk about different phenomena. They talk about different systems here on the planet. They talk about Illuminati. They talk about reptilians, aliens that are here. I mean, you hear all these different ideas coming from people, and you wonder if there's some truth to any of this, or it's just their imaginations. So I'm going to give you some information, and you decide if it's a conspiracy or if it's reality. Because there's a thin line between what is real and what is not. Just like there's a thin line between good and evil. So let me begin with asking this question. When you meet someone, do you actually know if that person is human or not? Could it be that that person is not actually human? Now, I'm sure that everybody knows by now that many have been working on AI, artificial intelligence. And have you ever met somebody and you felt as though you knew the person? Or let me ask this: have you ever met somebody and then you've fallen in love with them, or you were attracted to them? One thing led to another, and maybe you dated the person for a period of time. Maybe you even married the person. Did you ever see the person's birth certificate? Have you ever taken a blood test with the person? How do you know the person is actually human or not? Have you ever thought about that? Or maybe the person, they used to be one way and then they changed and you see a different side of them. But do you really know if that person is human or not? Because think about it. There are ways that AI can actually be x-rayed to show a skeleton, human skeleton. And they could be made out of some amorphous metal, so to speak. And they could pass through a metal detector. And the outside, they could look just like a normal human being. In fact, I would wager to say that there are probably some AI already in our societies. They've already infiltrated our governments. And think about that for just a minute. If the person or persons were able to succeed at infiltrating governments all around the world, what type of leverage, what type of power do you think that person or persons would then possess? Because I'm sure that people have heard that, the world is controlled by several very powerful families. Well, what if that were true, but now there's a shift? And that shift is the person or persons or group or company that controls AI, artificial intelligence, are now pushing that sector, whatever you want to call them, royal families, whatever, pushing them out. And there's now a power struggle. But the power struggle is not actually seen. Because there again, AI cannot really be detected. Unless you say, look, can you give me a urine sample or let me do a blood test? But think about the relationships you have maybe with coworkers even. You don't really know if that person is really human or not. And think about the ones who actually live by themselves. They're not married. They're single. And you see them and sometimes they have a date, sometimes they don't. Have you ever wondered if that person is actually human or not? And I mean, come on, let's face it. Nobody has any real way of finding out if a person is human or if a person is artificial intelligence. Because what are you going to do? You're going to say, let me check your pulse. Let me draw some blood. Let me take a urine sample and have it tested. No. Majority of us are not going to do anything like that. Now let's go a step further and think about the fact that AI could very well be over some of our jobs or in some of our companies. And we don't really know about it. I mean, nowadays people ask, they say, well, when you take a blood test, your analysis, okay. But there are so many that you don't really need that. And who's to say that AI have not stored some urine from somebody else, and maybe they have even placed some blood inside themselves. Whereas if a person were going to take some blood, well, don't take it there. They could say, take it here. And of course, the person who's drawing the blood may not even question that. They may say, okay, well, you have your reasons for me doing it this way. But think about that for just a minute. And what would you do if you found out that you were dating an AI and you didn't really know it until, 20 years, 10 years, 20 years later? How would you feel? See? Because some people say, well, you can't really love a thing. But would an AI be considered a thing? I mean, we say in the beginning that God created man, right? But what about the person who creates an AI? And then you could say, well, how is it that an AI could have the energy, the power, or what type of power source would they use where they could last for such a long time or a period of time? But think about this. I mean, come on. People are always out working. Think about construction workers. They're out working, right? Out in the sun. Could be solar power. And there's a good possibility that it could be run by magnetic energy. Now, if it's run by solar or sunlight, and if it's run by magnetic energy, it could be unlimited. And think about if the AI were able to duplicate themselves. And some people may say, well, where would they get the fingerprints from? Well, think about this, that nobody's fingerprints are exactly alike. So it's a very good possibility that they could create their own fingerprint and footprint. I mean, how would you know? You go to a club and you meet somebody and you're having drinks and you think you may like this person, but you never ask this person if they are human or not. You you're not going to take any blood. You're not going to take a urine sample. You're not going to do that. And it's a possibility that you say, well, let me check the heart. But there could be a heartbeat in an artificial heartbeat in an AI. It's a possibility. So, when we talk about these other aliens that are here amongst us, it is my belief that artificial intelligence, AIs are already amongst us. And think about this now. With them already being part of our society, and they are just kind of like absorbing right now to see how we function. How would you destroy them? So let's just say you have the military, and you have these specialists, or you have the police force, and you have the SWAT teams, and all these other special forces. Now, what if AI were to be invincible? In other words, a sniper's rifle would be useless against them. Any type of weapon that we know of today would be useless because you couldn't kill it. Even if you had these 50 caliber and up bullets or these explosives, what if you couldn't destroy it? And there again, like I said before, we have all these special forces, SEAL team and Green Beret, you have, Delta Force, all these other special military, elite military around the world, actually. But against AI, they would be, they would be useless. Because an AI, let's just say that AI was able to travel on the ground, on Earth, let's just say 100,000 miles per second. That's not, it's maybe halfway, a little over halfway of the speed of light, right? So what if they were able to do that? How would you be able to shoot it with a bullet? Because it's faster than a bullet. And if you were to maybe shoot some missile at it, you would be able to detect an incoming missile or some other weapon. So how would you defeat something like that if it were to exist? And what would happen if the people or person who had control of these AI, which I believe are already in society, what if they were power obsessed? And what if they were of a particular race? And maybe they're sitting back looking at just observing how different races are getting along, different religious groups are getting along, and they're just waiting for the right time to take over a particular country. How would you feel about that? And AI doesn't necessarily have to take on human form, but it could be that it could be an animal also, or like your pet, or an insect. So while a lot of people are, they have these little dogs or cats that they keep in the home, or they keep them outside, they have horses and things like that. how would you know if your pet was an AI or not? I know you take them to the vet and the vet says this, that, and the other. Yeah, but you have a lot of people who never take their animals to a vet. And let's go even further and think about this. Insects. What if an insect the size of, let's just say, a fly or a mosquito or even a flea were to manage to, attach themselves to maybe a part of your clothing? Now think about it. AI weather doesn't really affect them. So let's say you put on your coat, your jacket, and you go to work, you come home. But on your way home, let's say a little micro insect, like a flea, the size of a flea, attaches themselves to your jacket or your shoe or even your hair. And then they're inside your home. And in some cases, because I know that this technology exists, you're able to view everything clearly inside your home. All of your rooms, what you eat, when you go to the bathroom, all these different things are able to be seen and recorded, by the way, by an AI the size of an insect. People say this, they use this term, I like to be a fly on the wall. Well, have you ever seen a fly that you've tried to kill and you couldn't kill it? A mosquito that you missed? These are just little things to think about. Because there again, AI can be in the form of not just human, but animal and or insect. So these things are maybe conspiracy, maybe they are reality. You be the judge of that. It's just something to think about.